Hey, how's it going everyone? It is Only here, welcome back to another video course as always. Today I wanted to talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're getting close to the 2-week mark for the game and I played quite a bit of it, beat the campaign, played through quite a bit of the multiplayer, and well, Spec Ops, we'll talk about that. So yeah, today I figured I'd go over my final verdict for Call of Duty Modern Warfare after playing about 2 weeks with the game and just my overall impressions of the game. I decided not to do a traditional review for this kind of game just because I thought this one in particular was kind of weird considering just certain aspects of this game I don't really care about as well, and it would just be kind of more awkward than not if I did a full review on it considering just what I think about the game. So with that being said, I guess I'll just jump right into the single player because this was the reason I was pretty much excited for this game. Was the single player campaign. It's the thing I jumped into first. Hell, I didn't even touch the multiplayer until I beat the campaign. I generally do that with Call of Duty games. I think the, single player campaigns are pretty underrated. And yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare saw a more realistic boots to the ground, no pun intended really there. While past Call of Duties have been really futuristic, and I could say really only World War II as of recent memory was really boots on the ground, Modern Warfare is going back to the classic series that we all know and love from the original PS3 Xbox 360 era, and it's a soft reboot this time around with Captain Price returning, and overall kind of Modern Warfare is what is 2019's Warfare today. A lot of the stuff in the campaign is very keeping up with the times in terms of droids, terrorist attacks, things that are all too common nowadays, and that shows. When Modern Warfare first came out, of course, Modern Warfare was designated for those times, so Modern Warfare kind of made sense in that way. This is 2019's Modern Warfare. So, without spoiling too much of the campaign, I will have to say that I liked a lot of the game's campaign in terms of the story and cinematics and overall what they did with this game. A lot of stuff you'd traditionally expect from like a Naughty Dog or a Sony Santa Monica with like certain cool transitions and just the way the cinematography works. Yeah, it's very reminiscent to that. Obviously, they have some ex-Naughty Dog developers there, which makes sense. And yeah, I really like how they tried to humanize war in this game in particular, more than any other Call of Duty I really played. I will say there are some memorable characters that I remember more than I did in this game, but I will say that at the same time, I think this game probably does the best of modernizing and humanizing war, and how there's no real kind of simple ending. If you're starting war, you're going to be bloody on both ends. There's no really good outcome, and you're going into these imperfect situations, and yeah, there's going to be casualties, and it's not going to be perfect at all. The campaign itself runs about maybe 4 hours. It honestly isn't really that long. Yeah, Call of Duty games traditionally aren't that long, but this one felt a little bit shorter than usual in my opinion. It has been a while since I've played, a campaign, I guess 2 years since last year's Black Ops 4 didn't have one. But yeah, this one for real felt like it went by fast, and overall, just in the blink of an eye I was done with the campaign. But that made some good sacrifices because pretty much this whole entire campaign doesn't really have some fluff to it. In fact, I'm a really big pacing kind of guy, so I immediately loved this, and I always felt like, I wanted to see what happened next, and I never was really bored. But at the same time, I feel like they kind of cut too many gunfights out of the game. Traditionally, you'd have these cool locations in past Call of Duty games, and you'd have like maybe 2 or 3 gunfights at times. Sometimes in this game, you'll literally have one gunfight, and then you'll get to the next chapter. Like I remember early on with the terrorist attack that happened, you literally just go run up the street, shoot down some terrorists, and by the time you get down to this one, bookstore, the chapter's pretty much over, which might be realistic in terms of the story and stuff, but in past Call of Duty games, we would have gone at least another couple minutes. And yeah, I just felt like a lot of these chapters kind of cut dry really quickly. Again, I'd rather have that sort of problem than just, it overstay its welcome. But yeah, this campaign did feel a little bit short. But thankfully, as I said, the pacing is pretty good. Besides, maybe 1 or 2 chapters that feel really too short. Yeah, you're gonna completely love the campaign. It's great. If you're buying the game only for the campaign, however, since it is pretty short on length, I wouldn't really recommend paying $60 just for the campaign. I'd definitely recommend getting on sale like maybe $30, $40 or something, and getting the game half price for the campaign. I definitely think that's worth it in the end because yeah, the campaign is definitely one of my favorite Call of Duties, probably like in the top 5. I will say though, it is kind of a little bit overrated than what people make it out to be online, at least what I heard going in. Yeah. I never really heard nonstop how great this campaign was until I played it myself, and yeah, I loved the campaign a lot. I think it's in the top 5, probably closer to like the number 5 mark or number 4, but definitely wasn't anything extremely special in my opinion. As I said before, yeah, I thought some other Call of Duty games did campaigns better and had more memorable moments, but this one isn't bad at all. It's actually definitely probably the most shining aspect of the game for sure is the campaign. Moving over to the gunplay, because this one kind of fits in both multiplayer and single player. The gunplay is what I love about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. If there's one thing I have to give this game, an A+ for, it's definitely the gunplay and how realistic the guns feel and how good the guns feel. Man, that's definitely the best part about this game. I played Modern Warfare, COD 4 remastered just about a few days before I played Modern Warfare. It felt very loose, it felt very arcadey, which is funny considering that's one of the more realistic kind of Call of Duty games, if you remember. This one just kicks out of the park. Honestly, it's gonna be kind of killing the future Call of Duties if they don't do the gunplay as good as this. It's just that good. It feels so good to play. The overall whole gameplay of Call of Duty Modern Warfare is so good. Peeking around corners, reloading while you're ADSing, it's so good. So many of those simple design choices just makes this Call of Duty feel so special in terms of when you're actually playing the game. And man, it's gonna be hard to go back if the future Call of Duties don't do this as well. So yeah, definitely really good. And especially with this Call of Duty in particular, it makes so much sense to have those kind of tactics and features moved in, considering the situations that you'll find yourself in the campaign and overall how the multiplayer works. Yeah, I guess I'll just switch over to multiplayer at this point because multiplayer is a little bit frustrating. It is really good in terms of the basic gunplay because, yeah, it's amazing. When you're playing well, the game's going to feel super good because just the game feels really good to play. But sadly, everything around the game just feels very weird, and at a lot of times it's kind of mediocre. For one, I want to start with the maps, because the maps are probably some of the most bland and unmemorable that I remember in any recent Call of Duty, maybe besides Infinite Warfare. I remember a lot more maps from other Call of Duty games that even just did mediocre in other areas. Just seriously, Modern Warfare has some of the worst maps in my opinion that I played in any Call of Duty. I think the one I do like the best is, I believe it's Hackney Yard. Yeah, the one from the beta, that one's really good, but a lot of the other ones just are very and it's because of one pretty much primal issue. The game's just super open. There's a lot of windows in like every single house. Angles in multiplayer are literally the go-to method to just getting a lot of kills. You're going to stay up in a house and have certain angles that people are going to know. And yeah, if you master maps with certain angles, you're just going to be able to get people off guard. It really reinforces the idea that you want to check every single corner, which is good. But in terms of multiplayer, it makes camping such an issue. I don't remember, having camping any issue in this generation of Call of Duty really at all. And it's something that I kind of, liked. But it's something you don't appreciate until you play this game in particular because, yeah, Call of Duty is going back to its camping era with this, for sure. This one for sure. I've never had this many issues with camping. Just everything between people hiding behind doors, shooting you, because frankly, that's kind of the meta. That's kind of the best way to play the game, is to play very safe. And yeah, I do like the whole realistic Call of Duty, but at the same time, the multiplayer, it feels very weird. At the same time as well, the game is a lot more slower paced, which is good, but the time to kill is still extremely fast, which reinforces the whole thing about angles and just overall the maps being BS in my opinion. Domination is one of the worst modes out there because, frankly, domination, a lot of times the B point of domination is literally out in the open, so your only really go-to method is to go prone. 9 out of 10 times that's gonna get killed. And yeah, just there doesn't feel like there's any kind of counterplay. It feels like whenever you start shooting someone, you're going to die immediately or get killed. Just immediately whoever sees who first. It's always kind of been like that in Call of Duty, but in some other Call of Duty games there has been some kind of like way of counteracting and kind of fighting back. In this one in particular, there's no really fighting back. If you're getting shot at, unless that person is getting shot at too, you're dead. And yeah, you're gonna respawn. I could mock just the bad respawns in this game, but that's Call of Duty every year, and honestly, it's nothing to really tick the game about. If you're buying Call of Duty, you know what to expect, pretty much. So yeah, if you're looking forward to this game in terms of multiplayer, just know it's a lot more slower paced, and yeah, the gunplay feels really realistic, and it feels really good, which is the reason why I keep playing it to this day. But other than that, just everything else about the game, in terms of the multiplayer with the maps, and just overall some of the systems, quite frankly, are probably gonna make me drop this game pretty soon, not gonna lie. Moving over to some of the special multiplayer modes, I want to talk about Ground War and Gunfight. Now, Ground War I'll talk about first because this is kind of like the Battlefield kind of mode. I actually like this mode decently well. It's not one of my go-to. I'm not going to boot up the game just to play Ground War, but it definitely is one of my favorite modes, probably just because it is a little bit different for Call of Duty. It kind of gives me that Battlefield, I don't know, nothing. It doesn't really give me the fix for Battlefield. It does it decently enough to kind of make it acceptable, and ultimately I enjoy playing the mode. It is pretty fun, just the fact that the maps are so much bigger allows you to just, have some kind of strategy to it, which Call of Duty kind of lacks in the other modes, and overall I like it a lot. Definitely one of the best modes to probably play with friends, and yeah. Gunfight now. Gunfight is probably the saving grace for the multiplayer. It's the go-to mode for me. Gunfight just feels very satisfying. It keeps, obviously, you're still gonna have the great Call of Duty gunplay in there, and just takes all the BS out from the other systems in terms of not knowing where enemies are. Yeah, these maps are so balanced and so kind of symmetrical that it just focuses on, your strategies as a team, especially if you're playing Gunfight with a friend and you can communicate. Oh man, Call of Duty Gunfight, it's one of the best moments you can have in this game, just playing Gunfight with a friend. yeah, it's honestly the go-to mode for multiplayer for me. It's just super fun. You know, quick rounds, but also leaves enough rounds for you to like actually make a comeback. It's a really good mode, honestly. The fact that it was done for the first time, you know, ever really in Call of Duty, and they nailed it down this good. Just, it's so much fun to play, and I actually love the maps a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing the future maps that they add to the mode, or at least I hope that they add to the mode, so Gunfight's definitely an A+ for me. I guess I'll leave Spec Ops to last now, because Spec Ops is the one I've played with the least, and that's because, quite frankly, I don't enjoy playing it that much. Now, the base mode of Spec Ops has like a few missions that you could play. I think it's supposed to be set canon, like after the game's main campaign, because you do literally get the intro cinematic for like, you know, Spec Ops like at the end of the game's campaign. And yeah, it's one giant map pretty much filled with just objectives to do. And it is pretty fun to play with friends, but honestly, it's just like when you're playing it, you just feel like you should be playing multiplayer instead. It's nothing like amazing that I remember like, you know, past Call of Duty co-ops have been like last generation. Just feels very lackluster. If you play Survival, which is the PS4 exclusive mode, I literally only played that for 5 minutes because I got so bored, and when my whole team ended up dying, like the reward said coming in November, like that mode just screams like it's not even finished, so I wouldn't even really bother with that. And if you're buying it on another platform, do not worry, because Spec Ops Survival is pretty trash. It's not that great, it's not that fun. Moving over again to regular Spec Ops, I've only played like really a match or two because quite frankly, it's not that fun to play. I wanted to focus more on the multiplayer and just playing it in general. I wanted to play something more fun. So yeah, Spec Ops is definitely, if you're thinking this is going to be some kind of zombie kind of trade-off, this is not it really. If you're buying this game, unless somehow you're like a big co-op fan and like you find some fun with Spec Ops, you're mainly buying it for the campaign and the multiplayer, and those are the two pillars for this game in particular. Now, rumors aside of a possible, you know, battle royale coming next year, I'm not going to talk about that because, yeah, it wasn't announced. So what does that leave me left with? Microtransactions, which of course have yet to be added, but you know damn well Activision's gonna add them soon. We know that there's gonna be no loot boxes apparently, quote unquote, but the fact that the game just doesn't have anything of like microtransactions besides like a few things just leads me to believe that they're gonna be very scummy in a few weeks here, and it happens every single year. I remember loving Black Ops 4 so much, thought it was great, they let the good reviews come out, and then a few weeks later they're gonna add microtransactions like they are gonna be with this game. I guarantee you in a week or two from now when you're watching this review, there is definitely gonna be some scummy tactics in there, just because quite frankly that's what they're gonna do. They do that with every single Call of Duty. I'm tired of giving them the benefit of the doubt, and they probably won't even do it in this game in particular when they have kind of everything else going for them with their no season pass and no loot boxes. They're probably gonna figure out some way to fuck it up. It's Activision, it's gonna happen. It probably already has happened if you're watching in 1 or 2 weeks. So yeah, sadly, I'm not going to talk about it, or I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they haven't really earned that from me at all considering their past tactics. Even if they don't add any loot boxes, there's going to be like $1 or $2 kind of, you know, red dots that are going to be sold. It's just going to be completely BS, just like Black Ops 4 was probably. Because they're a company and they need to make their money, there's no way they're just going to cut it out. Considering there's no season pass, I wouldn't even be surprised if they double down on that kind of BS. So yeah, Call of Duty in a few weeks here. Sadly, probably going to have some BS systems in it. They don't have it now, but that's just because it's the review period and they want to get people signed on the game for the good reviews and the good reception before they add in all these scummy tactics like they always do. My overall verdict of Call of Duty Modern Warfare is honestly leaning towards disappointment. The campaign itself, while short, is one of the best in recent years, but sadly that only makes up 4 hours of the actual game, and while those 4 hours are amazing, yeah, the multiplayer and other stuff obviously are what's going to keep you long term with the game if you're buying it. So yeah, if you're buying the game just for the campaign, those 4 hours are going to be super good. The campaign's great. Probably top 5 in Call of Duty history, I'd say. You know, as I said before, leaning probably towards 4 or 5 slot, you know, top 3, probably not. But yeah, the multiplayer, as I said before, has issues, but the overall gunplay with this game feels incredible to play. So if you have friends, definitely pick it up and play with them. It's really good. Gunfight in particular is a standout mode I recommend playing, just because of no BS. You know, there's no bad maps like what seems to be most of the map pool right now. And just overall, it's so good to play and balanced. As I said, the guns are superb, best of any Call of Duty yet in terms of the gunplay and just overall how the guns animation-wise, just customization-wise, they're up to 11. It's the best thing about Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the focus on guns. So yes, campaign, guns, gunplay, all that is an A+ for me in this Call of Duty. You know, they nailed those aspects down just incredibly well, but sadly the multiplayer and Spec Ops, they have issues that I hope they fix in the future. But sadly, that's just a wait and see thing, kind of like the microtransactions. I guess with that being said, that kind of concludes my verdict of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You know what you're buying. As I said, if you're buying this only for the campaign, pick it up for half price. I think it's worth it. Then if not, and you're playing the multiplayer as well, you probably already bought this game. But if not, as I said before, the multiplayer isn't my favorite, but definitely it is being carried by the gunplay, which is great. With that being said, I've been Online, of course, as always. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave me your thoughts on Call of Duty Modern Warfare in the comments down below. Look forward to reading your comments as always and responding to you guys. And yeah, as I said it before, I've been Brandon. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day and take care.